Hi everyone, I'm Perry. Welcome to Living Your Best Life with Eddie Stone, founder and CEO of Touchstone Essentials. Hello, Eddie. Thank you
Hello,
for
Perry.
being here. Yes.
Well, I'm happy to be here, and I feel like it's a little bit on a somber note, just considering globally, what we're facing from the virus, pandemic, whatever people want to call it. And it seems like now, when you look at the news, really every country in some way is dealing with it, whether it's people that are sick or uh, control of our abilities to leave the house or do whatever it is. So it's a serious time, interesting time. So I appreciate the chance to talk with everybody. And I will say there's quite a few people that watch the show that have been reaching out, and a lot of their messages have been very kind messages asking if we're doing okay, and do we still have our supplies, and is the business still running? And we do. But it's very nice. We have a lot of very nice people that watch the show. I'll say for those that are watching and sort of pay attention to what we do, we are fully operational in every country. We're shipping in every facility. The only one that we have some concern about is the warehouse that we ship out of in the UK. But we have alternative plans if for whatever reason, it was shut down for 10 days. We understand they've got a very serious situation they're trying to manage, but we can ship either directly out of one of our other facilities, including our facility in the States. So maybe, Perry, more than ever, people need to really pay attention to their health, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I want to before we jump into the primary subject matter to talk about, last time we were on and we were talking about the coronavirus or COVID-19, whatever folks want to call it, we were talking about sort of tips and things that people could do to sort of manage the risk of their situation, right? And so there's some of this stuff is pretty obvious, right? The whole idea of social distancing or staying away from sick people, I think that's a pretty obvious thing. Keeping your surroundings clean. I think the virus lives longer on surfaces than people anticipated, including stainless steel, which is quite surprising to me, but apparently can live on stainless steel for as much as 24 plus hours. And even though these are nervous times, trying to manage your stress, get enough sleep is really important because that helps to support your immune system. And that's probably the biggest thing we can all focus on, or one of the biggest things, I say, not the only thing by any means. And so managing stress. And so however you do that, if you meditate or use CBD oil, keep your practices up and going, eating your fruits and vegetables, because those micronutrients feed your mitochondria, which is sort of that respirator that provides energy to the body and the cells. Don't forget that, right? I think sometimes when people are at home, they're snacking. It's maybe not the best snacking, and they go to the store and they buy lots of chips and things. And I'm not trying to tell anybody not to enjoy a little bit of their chips or their favorite foods, but this is not the time to overindulge on alcohol or these ultra-processed foods, because it's just terrible for your immune system. And right now, most people that come in contact with the virus probably won't notice a lot of symptoms. They'll feel bad, for a short period of time, but you want to give your body the best chance possible, right? And so avoiding the ultra-processed foods is important. But here's one of the main things I want to go back to that we spoke about on one of our previous calls about hygiene and washing your hands. And there seems to be some confusion with people that they only want to use these alcohol-based sanitizers, but that's actually not as good as soap. So alcohol-based sanitizers will help to get rid of bacteria that are on your hands, but they won't do anything for viruses, nothing at all. However, soap, particularly if you're washing your hands, for 15, 20, 25 seconds, warm water thoroughly, soap helps to break apart the fatty membrane that surrounds and sort of holds a virus together. And so that's why soap, just simple, good, old-fashioned soap with vigorous hand washing and warm water, is more effective than alcohol-based hand sanitizers. And so I think people have a hard time believing that because they think it needs to be something harsh like a hand sanitizer, but that's actually not true. And so you want to do this. And the reason you want to do this is what research sort of suggests is that most people during a 1 hour period of time will touch their face as many as 25 times. And when they do that, more than half the time, they're touching what's called open mucous areas, such as the nose, the mouth, or the eyes, which is really where you transfer germs into your body. So I want everybody to be safe out there. And then I'll make one sort of, this is a personal request for our audience. For anybody that's in good health, right? You're in good health and you have the ability to do so, please try to find some place to donate blood. The International Red Cross all over the world right now, because of this increased need of blood and people being frightened about going to blood drives and things like that and trying to practice social distancing, they're not getting the kind of blood that they need or the rate that they need to replenish the supply. So I posted something on social media hoping to encourage people to do it. But if you go to like a Red Cross facility, they'll space everybody out so you're not getting near anybody. They check temperatures. They're doing a really great job. But we need blood, and we need it everywhere. We don't just need it in the States, but we really need it sort of all over the world. So the other thing, before we jump into our primary subject I want to talk about is respiratory health. And maybe on our next show, we can dive into this more deeply, but it's important to think about your lungs as this, vital, living organ, which it is, right? But we tend to not think about it as this sort of individual entity inside the body. And your lungs are quite remarkable. So a couple things to keep in mind. One, for people that drink a lot of water, they tend to have better lung health. And that is because being properly hydrated causes the membranes in the lung to remain thin and supple instead of sticky and thick. And you want your lungs to be functioning at full capacity. For that very same reason, if you're trying to address respiratory health, those individuals that work out, that exercise, that move enough to sort of, raise their breath and lose their breath and have to recover, kind of the ups and downs of exercising, that exercise, those large breaths that when you're pushing out, you're pushing out toxins, right? That's a great idea. But that also helps to support and maintain the elasticity in your lungs, which you need quite desperately. And so that also, there's also foods that support lung function. For example, deep green leafy foods, which are rich in chlorophyll, will help to encourage blood flow in the lungs. And so that's important to keep in mind. If you look at cruciferous vegetables that tend to be high in sulfur, that also is important in terms of supporting lung function. Fruits and vegetables that are rich in vitamin C, that also can be important for lung function. And there's even some research to suggest that apples and tomatoes, and I've read that research twice, and so it's really not completely clear for me, but some of the elements in apples and tomatoes appear to have nutrients that the lungs use to repair themselves. And there's some research on long-term smokers with a diet post-smoking of apples and tomatoes that had lung response and repair that was improved. And of course, for anybody listening, you won't be surprised that I want you to avoid ultra-processed foods, as we mentioned earlier. But if you smoke or you're around smokers, now more than ever before, stop, right? Even if it's only temporary, this is not that time. And you gotta do some things to give yourself the best chance possible. So thanks for giving me the chance to kind of share my public service announcement for the evening.
Sorry, Eddie, because here in the Eddie, the situation here in Thailand is not that convenient. We rush to get food in the shopping mall, in the grocery store. Like in your company, your product, like it's easy to take, right? I mean, just have at home and no need to prepare that much, right? I think it's very convenient to eat, to take at this moment, right? And anything that you would recommend us?
Well, the one thing I would tell people So when I talk about eating fruits and vegetables or greens, oftentimes people don't eat them normally and they
Yeah.
don't like them. And then when they buy them at the store, they don't really know how to prepare them in a way that tastes good. And then of course there's a lot of prep, a lot of chopping, and I mean, all these things are involved. So listen, I believe we have the best greens product in the market today. Our Super Greens juice, it tastes good. It's 44 different organic fruits and vegetables. If you don't have ours, right, or you just don't like ours, whatever, go find a greens product that's of good quality. You know, you should pay at least $1.50 to $2.50 a day for it, or I don't know that it's going to be of high quality. You know, a good greens product should be $2+ a day, right? If you're buying organic, non-heated, you know, kind of all those dynamics. But if you don't have something, get something, because that density of it's important. I believe also we've got our vegan protein. That's also a wide variety of plant-based materials that support good health. And so if you're accustomed to eating a lot of packaged or processed foods on a daily basis, try to substitute at least one meal a day, right? Try to have an apple. You know, apples store for quite a while if you put them inside your refrigerator drawer, right? So it's cold, but you know, do what you can to give your body its best support possible for you know, your immune system.
Yeah, that's perfect. And today, what are you going to share with us? The very good
Well,
information.
I wanted to talk about the immune system because that's the sort of the subject, right, of the moment. And so here's some things for everybody to sort of think about. Your immune system, not only is it affected by your mental, so where your head's at, right? If you're stressed, you don't, you know, you're go, you don't get proper sleep. All of those things sort of suppress your immune system. And that just requires discipline and addressing some lifestyle issues, right? I don't want to spend too much time on that, but remind yourself that you're in control. And if you need to do some heavy breathing, right, some breathing exercises, you could go on YouTube and Google breathing exercises. There's all kinds of places you can go to find this. There's apps you can download to remind yourself to take a breath. One of the best ways to relax your body is with breath. Exercise does the same thing, right? You go out, you vigorously exercise, you sweat, you get out of breath. When you recover, your body will have used up some of its cortisol supply, which is sort of this flight or fight hormone we have. When you got too much of that, it gets in the way of other hormones and how they function in the body. So that's one side of it. And then there's the choice of ultra processed foods, which we've spoken about. So there are things that will suppress your immune system that you can control. Other things, though, not so easy, such as the burden that heavy metals, volatile organics, and environmental pollutants can play in depressing your immune system. We spoke some about this, but just keeping in mind foods, even if you're buying organic foods, which is good and important, there's still atmosphere that you can't get away from and rain that you can't get away from. So, you know, try to get a clean source of food and then clean your food, right? It's important. Clean water is super important, particularly in a time like this. If you're a person that just doesn't drink water, man, I want to try to talk you into drinking some water. Even if you have to put a splash of lemon in it or a splash of orange juice or just a splash of something. And so, when I say a splash, I mean a splash, like a ratio of, if it's 8 ounces of fluid, then 1 ounce juice and 7 ounces water, right? Because you need the water. The water helps to purify the body. And then of course your air, if you have the ability to have air filtration, if you've got a heating and air conditioning system, make sure your filters are changed. All these things help to reduce this external exposure to toxins, which have a negative impact on your immune system, because heavy metals, volatile organics, all these things that we talk about, they're neurotoxic, meaning they impact the brain in a negative way and can lead to vulnerability and risk of disease. They can impact you in sort of your social function, right, with poor memory, executive function, which is your ability to have self-discipline and control, and sort of mental energy to drive and do the things you need to do, can all be affected. Mood disorders can be very much associated with heavy metals, environmental pollutants, all these types of things. It can even affect your fine motor skills. So these are all things to think about, right? These are super serious subject. It's not just because you're just willy-nilly want to control the toxins in your body. And of course, on the other side of it, you've got more energy and better sleep and clarity of mind, all these things. And so how do you do that? Well, we have fundamentally three philosophies at the company. One is elimination or detox. And, for those that have seen some of our material before, I could not be a stronger advocate than I am for using a good zeolite product. I'm biased. I admit it. I believe we have the best zeolite product on the market. Our Pure Body Extra Strength Nano Size product is as good as anything I've ever seen globally, period. It's processed properly. It's sized properly. And so its ability to help to take in toxins, get them out of the body, super, super important. And because it's so small, it creates a large surface area, right? So it's very effective at the cellular level. Our Pure Body Regular, which sometimes is overlooked, right? Because it's not sort of as sexy as talking about something that's nano-sized. That product sized at 0.4 microns means that the majority of it's going to stay in your gut. And when you think about your immune system, a lot of that's coming from the health of your gut. You can think of your gut sort of as this pharmacy that produces the chemicals and things that your body needs to operate. Some people refer to your gut as having this sort of second brain that comes from the good bacteria in the gut and this coordination between them on what your body needs. Here's the bottom line. Everybody needs to think about gut health. And you can't have a healthy gut if you're toxic, plain and simple. What you've got to make sure, though, is that you're not confusing this detoxing with a cleanse. That's not the same thing. Cleanses can help to flush things out of the body, but they don't bind and carry toxins out of the body, particularly at a cellular level. So when you're talking about detoxing with a proper zeolite product like we have with Pure Body Extra Strength Pure Body, you're talking about elimination. And that's the very first step. If you want to be as healthy as possible, that cleaning up your body is important because you got to take the bad stuff out to get the full benefit of the good. You cannot get the full benefit of a healthy diet if your body is toxic. Think about your automobile. You could put the very best gasoline in your car, but if the filters are clogged up, if the oil hasn't been changed, if it's not tuned up, your automobile just won't perform the way it should when it's even got jet fuel in it, right? And so you've got to be conscious that elimination and detox is as important to this exercise as is the healthy lifestyle habits and putting the good stuff in. And so the good stuff for us is you feed and restore your body with things like superfoods or with a good proper diet, right? We're all in control of this, right? Just a question of making it a priority, having the discipline, figuring it out. I'm not saying it'll be easy the first time if you've never done any of this, but everybody with the ability to hear us has control on this. And then finally is balance. And, mental balance is important, but you can use CBD oil to help balance your endocannabinoid system, which affects your central nervous system, it affects your digestive system, it affects your autoimmune system, all of these things, right? And so this is critical in moments like this to realize that you've got this chance to do these things and affect your immune system with these habits. Specifically, if you're using a zeolite, if you're using a natural clinoctolite, which is where the research is for safety, nothing synthetic, it's a master detoxifier. It helps to alkalize the body. Everybody knows that that's important, right? Same thing that greens helps to do to the body. It supports good gut health. It supports kidney function. Kidney function critical to being healthy. Supports liver function. And then finally, the biggest thing is it helps to also then control, when we talk about gut health, harmful microorganisms or microbials. So remember that in your gut, in your bowel particularly, there's a competition between bad microbes and good microbes, right? This is always. And so if you've got problems with yeast, then that battle's being lost, right, by those bad microbes that you associate with yeast. You can get ahead of this, and zeolite is something that can support that. And just keep in mind that zeolite has GRAS status from the United States FDA. It has the equivalent of that with the European Food Safety Authority. And so this is something that's important. It can make a massive difference to a person's health. And so we'll do all we can to encourage people to pay attention to these issues, because good health is there. You just got to give yourself this best chance in this moment, which has got, I think, most people pretty stressed out about their ability to fight and manage the virus.
Mm. That's good. That's good to hear. Very good, Eddie.
I've got a lot of confidence in people around the world. The human body is so amazing, but you've just got to take care of it, right? Give it a fighting chance. Put something green in it, right? So it's got a fighting chance. That's sort of how I think about it.
Okay. Whoever can go to the link under this video too, if you want people want to look for this product from your company. Okay.
Yeah, and let me say this, Perry. You have $50 gift cards that you can give to people.
Okay.
And this month, our two most popular products are Pure Body Extra Strength and our Calm 750 Zero THC products are both eligible individually for use of the gift card.
Mm-hmm.
So for everybody listening, DM
send me an email.
Email or send a direct message to Perry or whomever shared this with you, right? And ask them for a gift code. Gift card code, so you can get this affordably and give yourself a good chance. We're shipping. You're going to continue shipping and make these fine products available to people, but that's available too for you to try the product. So if you're a first-time customer, ask for a gift card. It's
very convenient. We don't have to go out and get the products. The product will be at home.
I saw where so many people, in fact, at my local grocery store, there's more people shopping for other people through these services than you see people, which is great, right? I've got a mom and dad both in their 70s, and so I'm happy they have those kinds of services. They don't live in my city, so I can't do it for them. Mm-hmm. So I'm happy they have those kinds of services, and it's a great thing, right? There's some good stuff that comes out of this technology.
Uh-huh. So thank you very much, Eddie, for today, and everybody stay safe. So we'll see you again next time, okay?
Thank you, Perry. Bye, folks.
Bye.